welcome to Origins Illustrated. I'm one of your hosts. I am Courtney Wright. I'm an actor. Sorry, an actor, writer, singer.
And I'm Clara. I'm a Dorilius, so a VR developer, product manager, and a comic fan, I guess. And go ahead.
And I'm Catherine Hicks. I'm an AR/VR designer here based in Memphis, Tennessee. And a geek. So,
yeah. Nerd. I guess I'll say that. That's the official, like, nerd.
Yes. I'm officially a nerd. So in terms of news tonight, as we briefly talked about the Spider-Man release, and they didn't say she was cast yet. Let me just clarify. They said she's in talks. Dakota Johnson is in talks to play Madam Web in the Sonyverse, which they have been starting with Venom, the Morbius, which has been recently pushed back. But they are considering Dakota Johnson as Madam Web. She's all right.
I have like no real, I've seen her, I'm kind of embarrassed to say 50 Shades because I was curious about that movie, but like
almost everyone's seen it. It was like a top movie ever. Everyone has seen it.
Yeah, I mean, it's Twilight fanfic. That's what 50 Shades of Grey is. But anyway, I have really I only know briefly of Madam Web from the 90s animated show Spider-Man. But I don't know. I'm curious to see, like, her performance in 50 Shades is pretty like but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, since then she's done a lot of indie movies, and she's gotten a lot of critical acclaim.
She had to do the indie movies to prove herself. I feel like after you do a movie like that, like especially with Twilight, Robert Pattinson went super indie to prove himself. I think so did. You gotta like make up for it.
Twilight. I'm not like against it because, like, again, what you said for Robert Pattinson, he had to go to indie to prove himself. He's a really good actor and everything. So
I think Zendaya did the same thing. That's why she took Euphoria and all of that after coming from Disney. She felt to prove herself. She needed to prove herself emotionally, and then Spider-Man on top of that.
Yeah, I think speaking of Robert Pattinson, there was this interesting article that just came out about him and how his agents told him that when he said, he wanted to play the Batman, and he kept circling the part, hearing that, it was being cast and, interested. And he asked his agents, like, have you heard anything? And they were like, oh, you're interested? We thought you just wanted to play freaks and weirdos. And he was like, what are you talking about? Batman is a freak. And a weirdo. Exactly. In my wheelhouse. I thought that was hilarious.
I love it. I remember I went to Savannah College of Art and Design, and we have every year the Savannah Film Festival, and Robert Pattinson came by for his film, what is it, Good Time. But like his performance in that was just, he likes to play freaks. So like, like Batman is definitely a freak. I mean, he has like a sidekick and all this other stuff, but like, it's perfect. I think he's also like a fan of Batman too, or like some sort of past history. But anyway, sorry, Batman nerd.
It kind of makes sense, the whole FK Twigs and him then thing, because she's very much like weird as a flagship of her characteristic. And at first I was like, that's so random between them, but then it makes sense. He has a weird freak side.
Yeah, he does. He I remember he went to get his award and he almost dropped it. He just like did this weird motion, but
Oh yeah, he must have picked that up from Kristen, because Kristen also was doing that thing too, where she kept accidentally dropping things and was like, oh, I'm so awkward.
Yes, she did. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Like, go home. It's okay, relax.
It's fine, you're fine.
Yes.
There was also a release that CW is spinning off Gotham Knights. Gotham Knights, their premise is, in the wake of Bruce Wayne's murder, the live action Gotham Knights is a spinoff. It's not a spinoff of Batwoman. It finds his rebellious adopted son forging an unlikely alliance with the children of Batman's enemies. When they are all framed for killing the Caped Crusader, now branded the city's most wanted criminals, this renegade band of misfits must fight to clear their names. But in a Gotham with no Dark Knight to protect it, the city descends into the most dangerous it's ever been.
I'm curious if the game. There's a game. The Gotham Knights game is coming out too. So I'm curious if it's going to release around the same time as the game.
Oh, that could
Be
be
right back. My
interesting.
puppy's like eating everything in his. He's about to die. So let me lock him up. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah, that could be totally interesting.
Yeah.
And I think it would lend back to the Arrowverse of old. You know what I mean? Because I sadly miss Oliver Queen and the Arrow team, like what they brought to the energy they brought. Because Supergirl has always been very light bright, even though she's finished her series is had their series finale recently. Basically, it's just the Flash and Batwoman. So I don't know how they're planning on having a crossover event.
Yeah.
So, you kind of need another series, so this might bring back a little bit of that edgy feeling that Batwoman doesn't have.
Yeah, I'm so behind on the CW verse. But I am curious about this, especially like that game piques my interest. But like it'd be cool to see like the different heroes and without a Batman. So look, I'll check it out. I might dip back into CW again. Oh, Chloe, you're muted.
They do that a lot though. Are you talking about the Alfred Hitchcock one that's on HBO?
No, tell us about that.
Wait, sorry, I just jumped in.
We're talking about Gotham Knights and the CW verse.
Okay, so there's another one too.
Yeah,
you're talking about like shows or spinoffs of Batman that are about Gotham, but not centered around Batman, or Batman's not there, like kind of a thing. Okay,
are you talking about Pennyworth?
Yes, Pennyworth.
I just started.
Okay, is that on HBO Max? Because I wanted to watch it, but I've never seen it.
I haven't started watching it. I just saw that they advertised it on the thing.
I think I just finished the first episode of that. It was interesting. I was like, this is
yeah. And there was another show. Remember Gotham with Jada Pinkett? That was on regular TV. I think it was like a young Batman, but it was centered around
it was just called Gotham.
Yeah.
Yes. And it was following a young Jim Gordon.
Yes.
And like a 10-year-old Bruce Wayne and like a 16-year-old Catwoman and that kind of thing. It ran for a little while.
Yeah, it had a pretty good running. I just remember like
it had a cult following. Yeah.
And then Suicide Squad, and then and then Joker as its own movie, and then it's definitely spawned its own almost every character has its own show. Anyways, I was just adding on to it. That's all.
Cool. Yeah.
Well, we're do you guys want to start talking about, because we have Hawkeye? I feel like both of them are big.
Absolutely. Where do you want to start?
Let's start with Hawkeye first. We'll save the best for last, and I think we could do Hawkeye probably really quick, right? Because okay, I feel like we could do like 15 minutes and then so immediate reactions to Hawkeye, especially in comparison to, how would you rank Hawkeye compared to all the other Disney Plus shows, the hits? What are those called? The
Disney Plus verse. I mean, it's
the Disney Plus verse. That's a good one. You should coin that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what the Phase 4 series. I don't know. Where would I rank it? I ranked it pretty high. I'm not gonna lie. I ranked it pretty high because for me, it was the best representation of all the Marvel movies from the MCU. It was the closest energetically, I felt that it had the humor, it had the poignant moments, it had really great acting, and the action was fun. Like they had two really enjoyable characters. I enjoyed the ride. So for me, honestly, Hawkeye it's neck and neck with WandaVision, but Hawkeye is just a little bit higher just because of the fact that it's truly Marvel. Like Captain, what is it? American and Winter Soldier? Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah, that's last. That's dead last for me. I no.
What was the other one? There was
Loki. What If? Probably Loki and What If are running neck and neck for me because Loki made me angry. I'm not gonna lie. I needed more Loki and less Sylvie. So I mean, it felt like Doctor Who, except Doctor Who was the companion and Sylvie was the real doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, I just, you know what I mean?
Sense. Yeah. What about
I
you,
love
Catherine?
Hawkeye.
I kind of, for me, it's actually, I'm on the opposite. I didn't hate it. I definitely think it's higher than, was it Captain America? No, Captain's
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I had the same problem.
I always want to call him Captain Falcon, which is a Nintendo character, but that's not what that is.
I will accept Captain Falcon.
Yeah, Captain Falcon.
I accept Captain Falcon.
Yeah. So like for me, it's like it's an average. Like it was, I kind of consider it like a eggnog kind of like, you know, Christmassy Marvel movie. It has like that like little flair. You can see the little Christmas lights right there. Sorry, but yeah, it's a pretty smooth watch. But I think I still like. Let's see. I like WandaVision. I think WandaVision. I put What If like maybe above Hawkeye. I actually kind of liked Loki. Like I liked seeing Loki, like how the ATV.
It's okay, girl. Own it. Don't be
So,
rude.
like,
Yeah. You know, no
Yeah.
judgment.
So I guess see, WandaVision, Loki, What If, Hawkeye, and then dead last, like to the point where I almost got up and left because I was so bored. Is I'm gonna call it Captain Falcon. Yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah, I did not.
Yeah.
I almost got up. I'm like the 5th episode. I'm like, I'm so bored.
Yeah,
what?
but see, yeah, go ahead. Well, rank it, Chloe, rank it where you put it.
Oh man. Okay, so I'm gonna put. I don't know. Okay, WandaVision. I love the grief stuff, and I loved what's her name? The
Agatha.
No, I love that. I like that. Okay, yeah, I will put WandaVision first. Even though it's not like a yes, this is definitely first. It's like, yeah, technically it scores all the right points
Of what we got. Yeah.
of what we got. It was a
Yeah.
great first show, and it definitely like pushed the boundaries of what to expect for the next oncoming shows, incoming shows, whatever. Actually would put Winter Soldier second. I would put it second.
Okay.
To me, they went there in ways that I would never think Disney would ever go, and I loved it. I also I think I'm biased because I really liked what's his name, the actor that played Falcon. I like him.
Anthony Mackie.
Yeah, Anthony Mackie. I do really like him. Yeah, no, I feel like they went there. There's definitely scenes where I was like, oh shit, I didn't expect it. I didn't expect them to go there. But I also am aware that I'm probably one of the only very few people who had low expectations for them going there. And then and then the fourth, I would say What If. Third would be What If. Only because there are some episodes there that I don't even remember. It's like it wasn't memorable. So there was certain episodes that were memorable. I love the Black Panther one, but it wasn't a whole memorable series. And then
Loki.
who was it? Also love Captain British, whatever her name was,
Captain Britain.
Captain Carter.
Oh,
yeah,
Captain
then
Carter.
Loki,
Yeah.
then Loki, and Loki also too. I liked Loki. I actually liked that it had a little bit of a romantic side. That's something I don't feel like
You liked him falling in love with himself.
I loved it. But we all fall. That's it. Actually, I feel like that's actually a metaphor because I feel like everybody falls in love with themselves. We fall in love with what we see. It's a reflection of ourselves in other people until we realize no, they're different, and then all of a sudden the trouble starts. At least that's
a whole nother podcast.
Whole nother podcast. So I would put Loki last.
So where did you put Hawkeye?
Oh, okay. Hawkeye's last then. What I do like though, I didn't hate it though. With that said, for me, dead last is not like negative. It's still a positive. It was still a good show. I was very impressed. I actually had better. It was the fact that I watched it all was already surpassed. I also had low expectations for Hawkeye. I thought it was going to be the worst. I think Hawkeye as a character, I just don't care about. I just can't care about. And so I was actually really surprised to care about the show and really enjoy the show. And I think it was Kate Bishop. She reminded me of the female like Spider-Man. And so like parallel to Tom Holland's character and his personality. And so I really enjoyed that. And to your point, it was very MCU-ish and had that vibe. A female Spider-Man version. And then I also love the girl from Black Widow.
Yelena.
Yeah, that was great. They had really good chemistry.
So for me, like Hawkeye had a really great line. I think it was around either episode 2 or 3. And, she was telling him, you have a branding problem. No one really knows who you are. Mm-hmm. And he was like, that's how it's supposed to be. He's like, I was a spy. You're not supposed to know me. I go in, I do my job, and I get out. If you know me, then I've done my job wrong. You know, that was, I'm paraphrasing, but that was such a great point, because he's not, like, he and Natasha, that's not being like out in the open is not something that they did. It just happened because they had the skills necessary to be a part of the team. So I really loved that aspect, that we really got to know him and see him, because he doesn't really talk a lot for the most part in the MCU. Like, he doesn't, you know?
Yeah.
Which I kind of like that quiet brooding type. So
I feel like that was them trying to make excuses for why he wasn't popular.
He's popular to me. I guess that's the thing. Like, I love Hawkeye. I love him as a character. I did not enjoy Kate Bishop until Yelena came in and she came to life.
Yeah.
Kate Bishop irritated me.
Yeah.
And I know that she was supposed to irritate me because she was like young and fresh, and you know, she had this hero worship. She had all these skills and no practical knowledge of like how to use them and what to do, and found herself in this situation where, you know, I kind of gotta stand up and fight. So where Yelena came in, it's like she popped alive. I don't know what it is. They had such great chemistry.
Yeah.
So
I love the scenes where they're both together, especially even just the spaghetti scene and eating hot sauce. It's just, it's we're like saying, "Oh, I like your jacket," or something. Just small talk like that is really cool. So
I feel like the dynamic.
Like the LARPers.
You like the what?
Sorry, the LARPers. The people that became Team Hawkeye. The people in the Dungeons and Dragons in the.
They were like in the park and doing those
exactly.
Stuff.
He's like, "You gotta let me kill you, man." He was like, "What? You gotta let me kill you? That's what I want. That's what I want for my help." And he was like, "Do you understand what it'll be like if people see me kill Hawkeye?"
I'm glad they had a pretty healthy representation of like geekdom. They weren't just all. They were all, you know. Some of those people just, you know, police officers, different people, which is like, you know, modern day geekdom. Geekdom is cool now. So like, yeah, they didn't do a stereotypical, all right, we're, you know, weird looking people with like glasses and bad teeth. So
that's legit. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's a really good point. I like the storyline with Hawkeye losing his hearing. I thought that, because that's straight from the comics. That happens in the comics with Kate Bishop. And I really resonated with that, especially the scene where he was trying to have a conversation with his son, but his hearing aids had been damaged. And it was so powerful. That was such a powerful moment to me, because we really got to see him not only connect with his son, but connect with Kate, realizing that, you know, seeing its vulnerability.
I like seeing
Good. You like seeing what?
The Broadway play.
Oh my God, Rogers the Musical. I need that to be real. I need Rogers the Musical to be real. Somebody's got to be working on that.
Yeah, hopefully Disneyland with that Avengers Park.
Oh gosh,
make a little musical in that thing. Yeah,
I was expecting to show the whole thing. I'm like, oh, they're gonna show the whole thing. They showed like most of it, but like, I'm sure there's more to this Broadway play.
Yeah, it was enough though to me. I think it was a good. I'm glad they actually even showed that, because they didn't have to, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. They knew better.
Exactly.
Give us the whole thing. I will say, so this is what I noticed, the parallel, and I think this is why why I ended up liking her. And I agree with you. She was annoying in the beginning, but she was annoying in the same way Tom Holland was annoying when he started connecting with what's his name?
Tony Stark.
Yeah, Tony Stark. And I feel like they kind of, you know how formulaic Disney likes to be, or Marvel likes to be. So I felt like they've kind of mirrored that with Kate Bishop and Hawkeye. Where they try to play that same type of relationship. She's annoying. She doesn't know anything. She's new. She's looking for mentorship. He's like annoyed by her like young energy, and then like feels entitled to feels compelled for whatever reason to father her or whatever, in the same way I think Stark did for Tom Holland, some sense of responsibility for them. And then also too I guess, and then I guess they had their own like little so I guess I think that's something I appreciated about it. And I also like that she I forgot, doesn't, never mind. But yeah, it was good. Anyways, I was like, there was another point that was supposed to be expanded in terms of the parallels.
The action was pretty good. I thought the action was good, and I like the reveal of Agent 19, that his, because there's always been a question about who his wife is and if she is an agent. you know, if how they met, like obviously she was in Shield because she's just too calm to not be. So the reveal that she was Bobby Morse, that was
yeah.
I guess
I remember my point.
Sorry. Mockingbird. She was Mockingbird.
I guess I didn't know enough about that. Like I was like okay, she's a Shield agent, but I didn't really. I think it was kind of lost on me, that reference.
I remember what my point was. So I this is why I felt like that was really important to have. Well, she seemed like she was non-binary, or she didn't identify traditionally with the woman, even though she never said what her identity is, or at least I missed it. She seemed to want to be represented in either way or whatever. But I felt like it was really interesting because it could have gotten really cringy, right? Like when she went to go hang out with him for Christmas, and he leaves her family to hang out with him, and they just spend like the whole day having like really cute interactions with each other. And so at one point it looks like, ooh, it could easily cross the line into like something inappropriate or whatever. And I just think of like the Me Too movement, where so many men are like saying like, we don't want to mentor women anymore, like we're scared, blah blah blah, which is BS a little bit. But I just love that they showed or modeled what it looked like to be able to have a man and what's a seemingly female identified woman, person, like modeling what mentorship and still a good real friendship and relationship could look like, which I don't think you've ever seen on TV in a non-romantic sense, or not a familial sense.
Yeah, I definitely got parental vibes from him, because it was very, because her father died when she was 10, and it was actually at the same time that she saw him for the first time as Hawkeye, like during the siege on New York. So I thought that was really interesting, given that here's a young woman who modeled their career and choices after seeing this battle and this one particular hero. Like she became this archery expert, and I loved that relationship also, because it was very skilled, dedicated towards like the skill of it, and let me teach you. It never went to that place of like the ugginess, because he was constantly talking to his wife. I think that was important, to like combat the questions of like him with this young girl, like constantly checking in with her. This is the situation, this is what we're doing,
And Black Widow too. They kept mentioning his relationship, how close he was to Black Widow, and that was also very platonic. So it was like reminding you he is capable, because it's just harder to.
And I love that he knew the whistle at the end. Like he literally took Yelena's beating. He took it like a champ. He did not. He defended, but he did not throw a punch, because he knew that she was just hurting, like missing her sisters. I thought that was brilliant, the way that they introduced what happened to Yelena, that she blipped. The fact that she was in the room 1 second and then disappeared and was right back, and no time had passed. Like, because we saw similar of that in WandaVision when Monica Rambeau. Is that it? It's Monica, right?
Yeah.
No, Monica's the mother, right?
The daughter.
Is the daughter?
Rambeau is the mother.
Maria Rambeau. Maria is the mother. Monica's the daughter. Yeah. So when Monica just came back, like she was just an empty chair and she came back. But to see Yelena in one place 1 second and then gone and back, I really appreciated that, because we got to see what happened for her.
I'm really worried they're gonna show a blip where a building's destroyed and someone just falls in whatever. So that's a random thought.
Right.
I'm like, that's really
same. People are like, airplanes that were in the sky and they're just not there anymore. Random people that were just in this plane, just like blip back in the middle of the air.
Yeah, or if they were in concrete, like where they were was that's like the fear I had. I'm like, this could go wrong so many ways with blipping. So,
man, those are good points. They didn't talk about that, did they?
No,
they don't know. It's the dark side of the blip.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the dark side of the blip.
I feel like they might mention that in what is it, Multiverse of Madness, since it's probably going to go in a darker route, because
I don't know, man. It's Disney. The mouse can't they can't be associated with like
that's true
random deaths.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. That's why I kind of like the Winter Falcon, because remember they showed the dark, he wasn't Captain America, but the whatever his name
Captain
is.
Falcon?
Wasn't it?
Captain
No.
Falcon?
No. America got the old other one. The
Winter
knockoff.
Soldier?
No, the knockoff Captain America.
Oh,
That guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a soldier in battle.
No, he wasn't even in battle. He
killed
the terrorists and like literally uses shield.
Agreed. But that's a gray area.
Yeah,
It's a gray area.
It's no longer
That's not
PG.
like people just falling out of the sky screaming.
yeah.
I mean, it's still pretty like this is more violent because you're showing a hero literally taking someone out at the neck or whatever with the superhero shield. Like that was vital in and of itself. I think they had some other violent scenes.
It was like implied violence, though. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, you know what's gonna happen, but I feel like because it's an implied, they didn't show, his head was gone or rolling.
They didn't show his head gone.
They showed the motion.
Yeah,
they didn't show
it. And they put the perspective, like you saw. I was like, oh snap!
You just saw people taking video of him. Yes. That's what you saw. You saw the horror on the faces of the people resonating, like that was terrible, and you shouldn't have done that. As opposed to like people on the sidewalk watching. Ooh, that guy's not gonna make it.
Yeah. Because that could have really crazy vibes for people too. But I mean, even think about Disney animated movies like Tarzan. Clayton dies in a horrible way in Tarzan. He's getting strangled and like.
I don't remember Tarzan.
I love the cartoon, right?
Yeah, like because like Clayton, he's like fighting all these vines and he's falling down.
I remember one chokes him, but he doesn't actually die, does he?
He does.
He does. You're right. He's swinging.
We've gone off on a tangent.
Okay, sorry. He was swinging, right?
I was just trying to make a comparison of like.
Does it look like this?
I hear you.
Let me get my rope.
Yeah, I was just saying like Disney has gone dark without showing that someone's died.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. And they have some dark movies that are a little bit darker. Like, I just can't remember off the top of my head, but I feel like they do. Anyways.
Anybody have anything else to bring up about Hawkeye?
It's cozy eggnog.
It's cozy eggnog. That's funny.
Yeah.
I like it.
If you want that Christmas Marvel vibe, it is that Christmas Marvel movie. I would say light Christmas. It's not heavy-handed. Here's the gingerbread cookie, but it's like cozy eggnog.
Yeah, I agree. And it was like the hard. It's like it's gonna be put in that category of what is that called? The hard, Die Hard.
Yeah,
Is the Christmas movie, is it not?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious.
Yeah, they straddle that same line.
Yeah, I'd even say it's like a lighter Christmas vibe than Die Hard. It's yeah.
Oh, for sure, 100% lighter.
Yeah,
it's Marvel. Christmas had to end happy. Nobody was gonna say yippee-ki-yay.
All right.
You want to move on to your? I say you started Eternals.
The main show. Speaking of dark, even though this wasn't dark at all, but it was a left turn for sure for Disney. And I think that's the main point of this movie, Eternals, where Disney is going to be taking some left turns. It's gonna like try to stir things up, keep you at the edge of your seat. And I think Eternals did exactly that. And everyone has it's very controversial in terms of a lot of different takeaways. So let's see where do we fit all up on the map in terms of what we came off of it with. So like, I don't know what the great way to rate this, but okay, thumbs up, middle, down.
I feel like I have such an unfair viewing of this movie.
And then if you like really like it, 2 thumbs up.
Can we
You're really neutral, and you're like, no, worst thing ever, down to down. Okay, ready? On 3. 1, 2, 3.
It's like I did.
You're 1.5 thumbs.
I used 2 to do the. But that's a good 2.
Wait, are we doing 1 thumb or 2 thumbs?
I'm doing 2 thumbs to show I really liked it, and I also can see, like, I have a range. I also can see how it could be a little bit mediocre.
It's like slight above average just because I also viewed it in 40x. So
that helped.
Oh yeah, that
helped.
It helps. Yeah, like I've seen far worse superhero films. It's better than 1 through 4 of Book of Boba Fett. So like it but
way to slip that in there.
Hey,
way to slip that in there.
I would much rather watch Eternals than episode 1 through 4 of
that is
Boba
a true
Fett.
statement. I support that. I support that.
Yeah, but I enjoyed.
I'm gonna raise it up just for that. I'm gonna raise it up just for that.
I had a good time. Like, I mean, it's not the worst movie I've seen. I thought, shoot, I forgot his name. He was the Bollywood character in the Eternals movie. I forgot the actor's name, but I liked his
Camille.
Yeah, Camille. I liked him in this movie. That was interesting, but
let me just double check that.
It's not a horrible film. I think it has a very different tone for a Marvel film, and I think that also kind of throws people off too. But it's mostly an average whatever like superhero film with more comedy than I expected. I was expecting it to be a bit more serious, but it's like they really inserted some comedy in there.
How do you think this made, from both of your perspectives, how do you think, what exactly made this movie different from the other movies? What exactly? Like, was it the plot? Was it like, what
the sex scene? Let's start there, the unnecessary
sex
scene. It's not just that, but I didn't need that.
Yeah.
I just needed them to save the world. A lot of it for me was there was a lot of heartfelt perspective that our characters went through, like a lot of the angst and feelings. And it's not that our characters don't normally go through a journey. This one was a little bit more heavy-handed for me. Mm-hmm. You have 10 characters that we have never met before that are also obscure Marvel characters in of themselves. Yeah. You have 10 in 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 40 some minutes to introduce me to all 10 of these and make them all specific. We had the course of like 22 films to learn all of the key players of the Avengers over 11 years. She had 2 hours and 40 minutes. And I think that there were things that were lost and things that there was too much of in place of the story. Not to mention, you got 10 characters and you cover like 8,000 years. So there was a lot of flashbacks that I was jarred. It was like literally whiplash. I'm like, where are we? When are we? What's happening? Who's that guy?
Yeah.
It was a lot.
It was messy in terms of how they handled that.
Yeah, I feel like it won me over at the end. I think it was hard to get past. For me, the extra acting was very like bad. Like the little kid, he like watches his dad and he's just like I think there was a lot of stoicness that they were told to be like the hero is being very stoic, and the town and the villagers.
Fastos' son, Fastos' little boy.
What in the beginning? Is that what you're talking about? In the Eternals, when it started?
In the beginning, I thought you were talking about the child that Fastos and his husband had. I did like that. Oh, no. I did like that element. I thought that like bringing in, introducing a gay superhero and showing us like this happy family. I did enjoy that. I thought that was really lovely, and the way that they just introduced it seamlessly. I thought that was a really positive thing. I loved Makari. Honestly, Makari and Druid was the love story I wanted.
And we'll probably get it. We'll probably get it.
Sorry. I need it holding out because, and it wasn't even, and that was a beautiful thing, is that like Chloe Zhao said that wasn't written in the script at all. It's just that what those two actors, Lauren Ridloff and I forget the guy's name. It's just what they brought to their roles. And Barry Cohen. And it was just so charming and lovely. And I needed more of them. I needed more Makari and Druid.
Yeah, I'll say I love that. I think that it was well casted. Personally, I was surprised that, you see like a third of the Game of Thrones cast, but I feel like it worked so well. And
the casting was brilliant.
I was really happy to see like women lead. I think what's her name? the woman who played the Prime
Salma
Eternal.
Hayek.
Salma Hayek. I think she did an interesting job. It was hard for me to believe her, but ultimately I think she held it down. She has that commanding presence and all that. I also appreciated the main girl. I love that it was centered around, like, you never see like an Asian woman. She carried that movie. Like, she was she just carried it, which is like, in a sense, not carried it in the sense like she made it great. I think it's just really cool to see a really big star. Yeah, and she held it. I think also too, she kind of plays things like, there's some actors who play their roles in a way that you don't see their expressions on their face. They just are very, mono facial expression. She played it like that. So that was a little bit something I wish I could see more of, but I did see that across.
Yeah, that was a drawback for me.
Yeah,
because I got nothing from her.
Yeah,
there's literally got absolutely nothing.
I think I was more interested in the side Eternals characters than the two main ones. And I think that's the problem that this
Gilgamesh and Thena. I needed them. Angelina Jolie, I'm sorry, that woman just pops off of any screen. She is flawless fierceness. Yeah, flawless ferocity. Like, I cannot handle how amazing she is.
Just so distracted. I think she knows it. She knows she's distracting.
She's not even trying.
She doesn't. She does things that are like, okay, I get it. You're commanding attention without commanding attention, but like in a commanding attention way. You're still doing it, but you're doing it in a way that you know that's going to draw.
That's like obvious. It's like the epitome of like beautiful acting work, is that you just show up and you shine. Yeah. Like, literally, Angelina Jolie is one of the few actors that can take one word and slay. Like, when friggin' Icarus walks up and she's like, hello. Like, literally, I was like, I cannot with you.
She's a badass. She is a badass.
She is flawless ferocity. I can't.
Yeah. I really like also just the design of their tech. It's so minimal in the gold and everything. I don't know. I just like really liked how it worked, and it felt very different from a lot of the Marvel films where technology is very like cybernetic, or it feels a very certain way. This one feels more like feels kind of magic and celestial, as well as kind of ancient. It has that ancient aspect of it, as well as super modern aspect of it. It's just really beautiful.
So I loved how they had two sides. There's the active abilities and then the introspective, non-active abilities. But then at the end, you got to see, for the most part, everybody work together. I was frustrated at the fact that the Bollywood star Camille Nunjami, I don't know his character's name. I forget his character's name.
I don't remember either.
Anyway, I was upset that I felt that they didn't do Kingo. I was upset that they didn't do him justice, that you literally left him on the fence and you didn't allow him the right to make a choice. Yeah. Because he's the only one who's traveling with a human companion. And he literally, his actions are basically telling his human companion, who's been with him for 50 years, your life doesn't matter to me. Yeah. It's really about my cause. And I'm going to follow Icarus. So I'm going to get my stuff and I'm going to go, because I don't want to engage either way. I thought that was a complete disservice to him and everything. He didn't have an arc.
100% agree. Like, I did not like that part at all. Like, it just,
I thought for sure he was going to show up at the end and like just roll in, like, okay, everybody's working together. I'm here. Even if you stand with Icarus and Sprite, just stand. Yeah. You can't like be a conscientious objector.
Yeah, because
there's a celestial coming out of the earth.
Yeah.
So I'll say this too, like, I really enjoyed this movie. I really liked it. I do think like there was some parts of it that made it hard that broke immersion for me, like a lot in the first hour, but then I feel like it got on its feet together, and I'm like, okay, I'm optimistic about the next direction. I feel like I
love Dane Whitman. I'm excited for the next iteration to see what the Black Knight does.
Yeah, so I'm excited too. So I guess for me, I was a little bit surprised that people had like there was such a strong sentiment to how different this was supposed to be. So I remember I read like a couple of the comics, the novel for Eternals, and I was like, the movie did match the vibe of the comics 100% for me. The comics kind of like just take you in to their story. Like they don't introduce you to each person. It's just kind of like, you're in one person's house and you're seeing them interact with their significant other, and then they go to an event. That event, you see two people interacting. You're just watching these stories unfold with all these characters, and all of a sudden you see how at the end of the comic they're all in the same place at the same event. It's almost like, when you watch those movies like Valentine's Day, or what is that movie from London, the Christmas movie that's very popular?
I know.
Christmas Carol?
Love Actually.
No,
Love
Actually.
Yeah, it's like when they have those like 10 characters, they're not really related, and you don't know who they are, but then you're seeing their stories, and all of a sudden at the end they all come together in the same place, and then the epic thing happens. I feel like they were trying to do that with Eternals. The comic book did that really well. That's exactly how it landed. And if I remember correctly, they just showing you these different lives, how they first meet each other. I think one of them was like was assistant to Stark, to Iron Man, one of the Eternals.
I think he made a joke about, hey, I could be Captain America or something like that.
Yeah, but there was one of the, I think it was one of the women who was actually an assistant to Tony Stark at one point. Anyways, and then and they end up going to some, I want to say Russian, but it could have been like Bulgarian or some kind of Eastern European like rich person's house who was throwing a fundraiser. And then it was a very politically themed comic too. So like when they were all there, somebody tries to kidnap or steal something, like some kind of diamonds or gems. I should have refreshed myself before I came onto this to talk about this. And then when they were trying to do that, it was very like they kidnapped the president of the United States or president of something, and then they were starting this Cold War. And then in that experience of getting kidnapped, they were all shut down in a room. All of a sudden their power started activating, and in that threat moment, and so all of a sudden like they were surprisingly like, and all of them were discovering each other, and all of a sudden someone started to remember who they were, and they were able to like get out of that situation and rescue the people. And then like all of a sudden they had to realize, okay, we're on this mission, and
so they all forgot. None of them knew they were Eternals?
No. So you're reading the comic, and it looks like you're just reading a regular novel comic. There's no superpowers until you get to the end. And then when that whole thing happens at that political charity, and somebody kidnaps a political figure, some terrorism kind of a thing, in that process of it, they're all discovering there's different powers. So one person accidentally ran really fast when they were about to drop something, or somebody was about to shoot somebody, and they accidentally ran and they didn't realize how fast they ended up in a different room. And so they're like,
oh wow,
it's really interesting.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
Now that's something like them not knowing who they were,
but it was boring.
Remembering along the way. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was boring.
But that would have been like the first like 15 minutes.
No, and yeah, but it was
in the book. But I'm saying like if that had been introduced as a storyline in the movie, it would have been like 15 minutes. You know what I mean? Like we could have lived with that if our heroes then got together at the 20-minute mark. You know what I mean? Because that's formulaically speaking, that's how the screenplay would have been written. Right. You know?
Yeah.
But
I guess it's just like to say the tone was the same. It was not any different from the book. It was a weird, I want to say dry, solemn, but I don't know what the right way to describe what the tone of Eternals was. There were funny moments, but it was depressing all the way through.
I thought it was existential.
It wasn't. It was. Did you say existential?
No, sensual.
Existential.
I didn't get that.
I got existential dread. That's what it felt like. Undercurrent.
Yeah, I think there's this through line of just like, what is it? Resolve. Like they've resolved. This is what they've been doing. They've been doing the same thing for 7,000 years, and I could see it. They were tired. Yep. Everybody was tired. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like they've been going through the motions. This is 7,000. Like there's no
going through the motions until they can go home.
Felt that, yeah.
And so like the problem for me is that even when the deviants reappeared, them thinking that they got them all, there should have been a little like, oh, hey, they're back. You know what I mean? Moment of like just kick into hot, not necessarily high gear, but a gear, at least shift, you know, and everybody just stayed on that red.
It's like, oh, whatever, we gotta kill them again.
It was beautiful though. It was a beautifully shot film. I thought that there were some really incredible moments. It just, you know, I guess the problem for me on the second watch of Eternals, I did like it a lot better, because I now had an understanding of what this film was and how it is a bit of a departure from traditional Marvel movies. And once you accept it for that, just accept it for the movie that it is, and just take it out of the idea of a Marvel superhero movie. You just put it in like the same plane as like Chronicle or what'd you say?
Comic integrity, like
you know? No, not comic integrity. Like if you just put it in the world of, honestly, it felt more like DC than it did of a Marvel. Energetically, it was more.
But so did Civil War, Captain America, like that.
Oh no,
Civil War.
I love Civil War.
I love Civil War. I also love DC. So, but
no, I like. Don't get me wrong. Listen, I'm all over like Wonder Woman and some of the suit. Not the recent.
I don't like the Snyder
WW 84.
Oh no, not that one. One. Love the first one. And the Snyderverse, with the exception of the Justice League movie, the Snyder version, which I adored, really loved it. There's a weight to it, and I thought that there was a weight to this movie that maybe Marvel needs. You know, maybe it's bringing a certain bit of grounding to the concept of superheroes, because a lot of people do have superhero fatigue. That has been a thing that has been going around, that everything is the same, there's nothing really new, although they did just spend a 1.25 billion on Spider-Man, so they can't be that fatigued.
Well, that's the thing too, like fatigue is one thing of superheroes. I like fatigue of the same three superheroes done over and over and over again is where I think the real problem lies. There's millions of characters with millions of different types of stories. Like this is its own industry, but they keep doing the same three. And so that's why it gets boring. And that's why every time you see a new character that they finally haven't given justice to, or when they do something like that, it's like, it can be refreshing, because it's like, I'll never be sick of the superhero story. I'll just get sick of watching the same superheroes, this time as a young person, this time as an old person, this time as a, like, whatever. And it's like, now let's put them all in the same movie together. Like, okay, come on.
I think that's why I probably preferred Eternals. Like I would almost put it in like an indie comic thing.
Yes.
Like, I kind of didn't even really see.
Yeah.
Like the DC that they try to go with, like Snyderverse, for me had like a very specific like vibe, but it's like almost like an indie superhero thing.
For sure.
Which I like, because I have been getting like I guess a Marvel fatigue of like a very formulaic Marvel fatigue, and I like it when they try to make it, like, for example, Loki or WandaVision, they tried to do very different stories with those characters, so that way it feels like you're getting a new story every time, versus like so
I think even okay, so when you say indie comic, I think the writers too, this was their first big movie. They were actually indie writers.
Chloe Zhao wrote it.
Yeah.
Who?
Chloe Zhao.
She's an Oscar.
She directed it and she wrote it. She co-wrote it with one other person, but she wrote it.
My friend's friend, they were both writers. They won some type of award for their first ever film that they wrote or something like that, some kind of copy playwright. I think they're brothers. They then were selected and pitched by Marvel to write the movie for Eternals. So they were the writers for Eternals. They probably worked with Chloe to get it to where it needs to be, but my understanding
there were four writers. There were four writers. Including Jack Kirby, but Chloe Zhao, Patrick Burleigh, and Ryan and Kaz Furpo.
Yeah. So I think they worked with them, but I think it was originally like I don't know how it works. But anyways, all that being said, if you see their indie first playwright, if you see that I'll remember, I'll find their names, but their first movie kind of explored the same type of thing. Purple. Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah. But I don't remember what the first project was, but if you listen to that, I forgot, it was kind of like very mystical and very like on brand, which is probably why they got asked to do this. But if anything, there's also probably some influence there as well. But yeah, very indie
Mhm.
and indie writing. So indie director, 2 new indie writers, indie comic naturally already.
Which I feel like indie type stuff can either turn people completely off, or like, I mean, not for everyone, like everyone's, you know, different opinion and stuff. So, but yeah, but film did have like flaws. I just kind of like the tone and the tech and the feeling, but definitely messy in terms of trying to go through 10 characters in it.
I am looking forward to what comes next and how they fit into the puzzle, because I have a feeling that they are connected to Shang-Chi's 10 Rings.
Mhm.
I really feel like Fastos made those accidentally somewhere, some point in time, and that's the reason nobody can discover them. They're kind of like predate time, according to like, Wong and Bruce Banner when they analyze them. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens given how it ended, and how the main Celestial, whose name I can't remember,
the guy who was
the big red guy, and how he took Gemma Chan and Fastos and all the rest of them. Everybody was left on Earth, basically.
Yeah.
Oh,
except
another
for
one
Sprite.
point.
Except for Sprite.
Yeah,
because she's human now.
Yeah.
I forgot. I wanted to say this one point. Another reason why I really liked Eternals. So metaphorically, I felt like this was the story of like, if we were to get rid of white supremacy, what would it look like? This felt like this is what it would look like metaphorically. And it would have to be done by those who were given the privilege of the power. The group of the Eternals were chosen by the Celestial to do the bidding, and as a result they enjoyed a certain privilege of being eternal. But as a result, but it's like now they're awakening to like, wait, these people that we're killing, we don't feel like are important to continue to give birth to our own needs, are actually very much important. They're humans. Like they humanized them because they went amongst them. Because remember they thought they killed all the deviants, and so like, okay, let's live amongst the people. And then so all of a sudden they had empathy with the people, and they're like, oh wait, something's wrong here. And then that made them have to stand up to the Celestial, or to think about how to do that. But they knew that was going to come at a sacrifice to themselves, which that has to happen in order to distribute power or to relinquish power. You have to sacrifice yourself. And so I feel like this was like the very much like and that's what the Eternals do. They know that they were like potentially killing themselves by not letting the Celestial kill all these people, and because they put themselves in that way and in that whatever. So I don't know, I just felt like this was very much like and they had all the white men were literally bad in this, or the opposite, like the lover of the main character, whatever his name was, Superman guy,
Icarus.
Yeah. Icarus, he was like,
he flew into the sun to kill himself, like Icarus.
Yeah, exactly. And then so I was like, it's almost like literally and figuratively, it just felt like this is what the end of white supremacy looks like. And then like how it has to be killed for everyone to get a chance at an opportunity to have their best life.
That's interesting.
Went there. That's all.
Woke lines. Okay. What about the taglines? The tag scenes. What is it? Silver Fox, who was Harry Styles, who came back as Thanos's brothers.
Oh,
Star
yeah.
Fox? What's his name? You know, that guy. What's it? Something.
Thanos's brother.
Arrows. He's Arrows.
Yes,
which is interesting considering that Arrows, he's known as like another name in the comics, which is like Silver Fox or something like that. I can't think of what the character's name is, but anyways, it was a little interesting. It was a little weird. because I had the opportunity of going to the premiere of the Eternals, and Patton Oswalt was there, and I was like, oh, maybe he's just here because he does a lot of Marvel things. And then he came in at the end of his character came in at the end of the movie. I was like, oh, that's why Patton Oswalt was here, because he's in it. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. The most interesting was the Black Knight. I thought that was, honestly, for me, that was the best. I was like, why couldn't he just, bring that sword out a little earlier?
And then the talk of Mahershala Ali talking in the background of that scene.
Oh, was that him?
That's who I think it is. Who's
talking. You think it's Blade?
I think it's Blade. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I can also say I went to a premiere of Moonlight where he was there. I'm like, yeah, he's super cool. Sorry. And same with Salma Hayek. You
went to Moonlight premiere?
Yeah. The Savannah Film Festival. Both Salma Hayek and Mahershala Ali were in Savannah. I went to both premieres, and like, Salma Hayek's really cool, and Mahershala Ali is really cool. So I'm like, yay!
Right on. That's cool. That's always good to know. I always love to hear that. You know.
So.
Yeah. All right.
But
do we have any other final thoughts that you want to toss out there before we close for the evening?
Just to hit that end of white supremacy point home. And why I feel like this is accurate. Like, if you think it, even the MCU, like, kind of dethrone, like, the white men gave their power away to each, like, Captain America gives his shield to Falcon. Iron Man will sacrifice himself. Peter Parker sacrificed himself in a way that's like, he just doesn't exist now. I guess in some way, shape, or form. Like, he made it so that he could never have any
social security number somehow.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, he still exists. Like, the computers still know him.
Right, computers still know him, but unless he can't become, like, he had so much access.
I think
to power
Thor still knows him. I think Thor and the Guardians know him because they weren't on the Earth when they did that. So I'm pretty sure Thor still knows him.
Right, but the privilege is in America. Like, we're on Earth, in America, but and other countries. But yeah, you know what I'm saying. So, like, I feel like he lost that access to having power here, because you have to know people at the end of the day. I mean, you don't worry, he'll still have like that privilege in some sense of form. But anyways, he's technically whatever. Lost all of that access to what he had. And then who else is there that was that also, like, handed over his throne in the MCU? Basically, they all just kind of like, Hawkeye is now passing on his stuff to Kate Bishop. So I feel like in every single, like, all these Thor, I don't know where he went.
I mean, he's passing it on to Lady Thor. Yeah. Natalie Portman is becoming Lady Thor, Love and Thunder.
Yeah, so
that's
I feel
straight
like
from the comics.
Ceremony of, like, white men who've been taking us, like, who've been leading all these industries. We've been centering all our stories around them. They're now, like, stepping aside, sacrificing themselves out. They're literally conceding their power and handing it to, other people who are equally as deserving but didn't get their shine because of their identity or whatever. And so I feel like this movie kind of wrapped it all up in one. It's like they keep hitting that theme of, like, we're passing the torch to let other types of characters and people and get their stories and be represented and be centered in the superhero story.
Okay. I mean, I do agree that there is a passing of the torch. There is definitely the Olympic torch bearers. The Marvel torch bearers are handing off the mantle.
And the way they have to do it is on par with the way that it would need to be done in the real world.
Okay. I mean, it's also
willingly.
It's interesting enough. It's interesting the way that it's also coming from the comics, because the comic books have always been a place and an opportunity to have public or social conversations in a safe space that is contained within the art. So the fact that the art is being manifested into the silver screen is hope for, what's next. And I'm really excited for whatever phase 4 and phase 5. I don't know where Marvel is going because I can't see this through line, but I'm excited to see what's next. And I do think that the Eternals are definitely a much needed characters,
Yeah.
character building. I definitely think that they're going to bring something incredibly special to the MCU. I think that this was a huge undertaking, and I think Chloe Zhao, as a female director, did an incredible job. My nitpicking was just because I am a nerd and I have a certain, just, you know what I mean? Like, this is what I know. So it's an opportunity for me to expand my viewpoint, and I message received, you know? Yeah. So looking forward to what's next.
Yeah.
With that said, also too, because it's Black History Month, I want to remind people, MCU would not have gotten its start, would not exist, would cease to exist if it wasn't for the first Black male MCU, Blade. Yep. And so if you're not familiar with that story, well, I guess there was an attempt at a Marvel movie with the Duck guy in the 60s or 70s.
Howard the Duck. It was in the 80s.
80s. Okay. But that was a flop.
He was technically.
Yeah. It was a big flop. And they had one more shot.
Technically first.
Yeah, technically
and
first,
Spider-Man.
not responsible for bringing, not conducive to bringing the MCU, but they had one more budget yet for a movie. I think it was their last shot after they licensed all their Marvel other heroes, and so they decided to spend all their money and put it into Blade. Blade ended up doing way better than expected, and as a result, they were able to take that abundance of revenue to start to create Iron Man, which was their first studio, to turn themselves into a Marvel studio, and then have the investment to start the Iron Man movies, which then kicked off the whole MCU series or universe. So Black History Month fun fact, Blade. We have Blade to thank for all these amazing Marvel movies. And now after 10 years, we get to see more representation of superheroes. And I'm excited.
And
that's
I really
coming full
hope
circle.
Wesley Snipes makes an appearance in the new Blade.
Kind of like what we do in the shadows. They had like long story short, the movie What We Do in the Shadows, there's cameo appearances. So I think Wesley Snipes was in that. But Marvel almost went bankrupt without Blade. So
and another fun fact, that was Blade's voice at the end, right?
Mahershala Ali. That's
So and then I actually like the Black woman. That was the first time I've actually seen a Black woman in a movie also like characterized decently. I think it was Blade. Like as a love.
Lauren Ridloff? Are you talking about Lauren Ridloff?
You're talking about Blade?
And Blade.
I've not.
But you never saw her again. She never did any and I think she talks about how hard it was for her to find a job as an actor after Blade, despite her doing really well, I think. And she was very beautiful, but I think she passed away recently as well. Yeah. But I just felt like not only did they do a really cool Black superhero, and also he did his own stunts and was already a martial arts expert when he did the movie, so all those scenes are him and his real own skill set, but I also think the way they showed his mother and the way they showed his love interest, the woman who wasn't necessarily like even that, like it was just really cool because she kind of was like a partner at some points of the movie and not just a damsel in distress.
I don't really remember. I have to rewatch Blade, so maybe I'll take an opportunity to do that.
I was too young to watch Blade at the time of release, so I have to I've never watched Blade, so I need to.
Ooh, dude, yes.
Yeah.
We should have a throwback. And get some Blade comics and watch the movie.
It's on HBO.
It is. It's on HBO Max.
Yeah. Time to rewatch, or first time watching for me.
All right. Well, that is our show for this evening. Thank you so much for supporting and watching. Let me see. Please follow us. Let's see. That concludes our show for today, and thank you for tuning in. Shout out to Digital Click for all the amazing creative content that you provide for us. Thank you so much. Please follow us here on YouTube on the Geekish Network and on Facebook and Instagram. If you love what we're doing, please consider subscribing to the channel.
Have a great night and happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
Every Thursday. But we're moving to a different time slot. We should say that.
Yes. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Just so you know, we are going to be moving to Tuesdays. Please find us the exact same time, same bat channel, but New Day.
Yes, the God of War Day tiered. So
see you later.